Today, I'll be showing you the most common mistakes financial advisors make when creating retirement plans for their clients. If you're new to the channel, hi, I'm Julia, certified financial planner. And as the owner of a financial planning firm that's given hundreds of consultations, I've seen these same problems repeatedly compromise otherwise solid retirement strategies. And that's exactly why I'm making this video today, to expose what most advisors get wrong in retirement planning and how these mistakes might be affecting your retirement right now. So let's get into it. The first is failing to rebalance your portfolio upon retirement. So, why do you need to reconsider your investment strategy upon retirement anyway? Can't you just keep your portfolio as is and pull income as needed? Well, that all depends. The biggest investment risk retirees face is something called the sequence of returns risk. Some of you may have heard of this, as I'm seeing it talked about more and more, and this is a phenomenon that involves the order and timing of poor investment returns and the timing and size of your withdrawals. So let's say that you had $1 million in your nest egg and that you retired at the beginning of 2022. You were invested exclusively in the S&P 500 index, and you pulled out $4,000 a month or $48,000 that year to maintain your lifestyle. The S&P 500 lost roughly 19% for the year. So this means that you didn't just lose 19% for the year, you actually lost 23.8% because you pulled 4.8% out as income. When you tap into your portfolio as it's losing value at the beginning of your retirement, specifically the first 5 to 7 years, your chances of running out of money over 20 years is significantly higher than someone with the same amount of money in withdrawals that experienced a bullish first few years of retirement. And that is a sequence of returns risk. You don't want to have to go back to work or spend, way less than you'd like to in retirement. So let me show you an example. Let's say that you're retiring at 65 and have $500,000 in your nest egg. You need to pull 6% from your account each year of retirement to maintain your lifestyle, and we need to index that at 3% per year for inflation. Guys, keep in mind that you can use any portfolio balance with this example, and the results are going to be exactly the same. I'm just using 500,000 here. So 6% of 500,000 is 30,000, and in this column here, you can see that amount indexed each year at 3%. In this column, you see hypothetical S&P 500 returns. We're going to assume this person does not alter their investment allocation upon retirement and that they keep their portfolio in the S&P 500 index fund because it's always done really well, right? We can see that the first year performance is positive 33% and the last year's performance is negative 28%. What we see is that with this sequence of investment returns, which actually represent one of the very best sequences you could possibly get, look at the returns between the ages of 71 and 75, that these folks have no trouble pulling out 6% per year, indexed at 3% for inflation. In fact, they actually make money along the way. I also want you to notice that these market returns equate to an average annual return of 11.5%, which is the 50-year average of the S&P 500. Now, let's look at what could also happen upon your retirement. First, I want you to look at the returns. You'll see that these guys start their retirement with a negative 28% year and end it with a positive 33% year. Now, when we put these two tables next to each other, look at the returns again. You'll notice that they're exactly the same returns in exact reverse order. So let's run the same experiment. Same starting portfolio balance, same 6% withdrawal indexed at 3% inflation per year, but with the reverse stock market returns. And what do we see? Well, we see that these unlucky folks ran out of money at age 78, which is 4 years below average life expectancy. Question for you. Can we control the sequence of stock market returns? No, we can't. What we can do is bucket our portfolios upon retirement. And I've made a whole video on it, and feel free to watch that one after this one if you haven't already. But I'll quickly explain the concept now. Because we can't control the stock market, we can't rely on just the stock market to get us through those first 5 years of retirement. We need to fix those funds that we'll need during the first 3 to 5 years, depending on your risk tolerance. This means investing in safety, right? Money markets, treasuries, CDs, etc. Once you segment that amount of money, You can invest the remainder to your risk tolerance, whether that's balanced or aggressive. Where a lot of people and even advisors get bucketing wrong is that they think they need to keep their money conservatively invested throughout retirement or even get more conservative over retirement, which is not the case at all. In fact, you can actually get more aggressive as you age, and this is because your vulnerability to market volatility becomes less and less every year because the number of years you have left is also less. So, bucketing is a short term solution to combat the sequence of returns risk. And in our practice, it's part of every client's retirement plan. The second mistake is failing to account for healthcare costs. I've been building retirement plans for 12 years, and the biggest expense a retiree can and will incur is the rising cost of healthcare. Let's review the list. Under 65 health premiums, deductibles, co-payments, Medicare premiums, out-of-pocket expenses, critical services that are not covered by Medicare, like dental, vision, and long-term care. In fact, a healthy 65-year-old couple who retired in 2023 will likely use nearly 70% of their lifetime Social Security benefits just to cover their medical costs in retirement. The cost of under 65 health insurance is the biggest gripe of early retirees, and for good reason. The premiums between the ages of 55 and 65 are the highest, no matter which options you choose. There's COBRA, where you can continue your previous employer's health insurance for anywhere between 18 and 24 months. And while that coverage may be good, having to pay the full premium for your plan is very pricey. You could also opt to purchase a private plan from an agent or directly through our health insurance marketplace or healthcare.gov. But these plans can also get quite expensive depending on the level of coverage you want, anywhere between $250 to $2,000 a month in premium. However, if your income is low enough, you may qualify for a subsidy. Even joining a working spouse's plan isn't necessarily cheap. And while there's nothing anyone can do about this conundrum, there are some steps you can take to minimize your taxes during this time and to make sure that your retirement plan will still be intact. Firstly, you can opt for a registered high-deductible health plan and contribute as much as possible up to the annual limit into a health savings account. An HSA is the only triple tax exempt account that exists. And this means that you get to deduct your contribution. Your money is then invested and grows tax deferred, just like a traditional retirement account. And then you get to pull money out for qualified health expenses tax-free. So this is how you save on taxes right now and in the future. 2, make sure that your advisor is accounting for all of your retirement expenses and including under 65 premiums and deductibles in your cash flow. There's nothing worse, to me at least, than spending a bunch of time and effort on an analysis that doesn't have accurate inputs. Okay, but what about when you join Medicare? While Medicare is certainly the best health coverage in the United States, it still only covers about 2/3 of your medical costs, and the premiums can be quite expensive. Your first Medicare cost is your Medicare Part B premium, which is entirely based on your modified adjusted gross income from 2 years ago. So if you're joining Medicare this year, they're going to look at your modified adjusted gross income from 2023 and charge you accordingly. So if you file jointly and your 2023 modified adjusted gross income was $267,000, you will pay $370 per month for Part B, as opposed to the base premium of $185 per month. Not to mention the Part D drug plan penalty. This being said, you may be able to qualify for an appeal depending on your circumstances, and I reviewed this process in full detail in another video. So if you fall into this category, make sure you check that out. But the point is that there are many more non-appealable forms of adjusted gross income that can push you over that IRMA threshold and cause you to pay, potentially double or 5 times the base premium for Medicare Parts B and D. And this can add up to thousands and thousands of dollars each and every year of your retirement. Unfortunately, these Part B and D premiums do not cover everything. There are hospital and doctor deductibles, as well as co-payments, depending on your plan. At URS, we help our clients through the process of joining Medicare and choosing a plan that works best for their needs and budget. And this makes an enormous difference in our clients' ability to combat the cost of healthcare. Lastly, long-term care, otherwise known as home health care, assisted living care, or nursing home care, is not covered by Medicare. So unless you have private long-term care insurance, you'll be paying for this cost completely out of pocket. Now, after seeing how advisors overlook critical planning elements, You might be wondering where to even start with your own retirement planning. And what I've learned from working with hundreds of retirees is that most people don't struggle with saving for retirement. They struggle with knowing how to navigate all of these complex decisions like Medicare, annuities, taxes, and other retirement elements. The truth is that retirement planning doesn't have to be overwhelming or filled with extreme positions. It's about having a clear, systematic approach that helps you make these decisions confidently. And that's exactly why I created a free video walking you through my proven retirement planning process. The same process has helped hundreds of retirees break down these complex decisions into clear, actionable steps. It shows you exactly where to start and how to approach each aspect of retirement planning with confidence. If you'd like to see how this process could help you make sense of your retirement planning decisions, just click the link below to watch the free video. You'll discover how to transform confusing retirement choices into a clear and confident plan. Now, back to the video. The third mistake is failing to optimize your distributions. When it comes to how to withdraw income in retirement, unfortunately, most advisors rely on what's called conventional wisdom. This is a widely held belief that upon retirement, you should pull from your after-tax assets first, meaning your savings and taxable brokerage accounts, then your pre-tax accounts or your traditional IRAs and 401ks, and lastly, your Roth IRA. Now I'm going to show you why conventional wisdom fails in almost every circumstance I've analyzed, and I've analyzed hundreds of cases. Let's look at Bill and Barbara Johnson, our hypothetical Florida couple. Bill is 64, Barbara is 62, and Bill wants to retire now. They have a high-yield savings account worth $100,000, $500,000 in a traditional IRA, and $200,000 in a Roth IRA. You'll notice that I use pink, red, and blue colors here to highlight that account's tax type. The pink is for pre-tax or their traditional IRAs, the red is for Roth or their tax-free accounts, and the blue stands for bank or brokerage, otherwise known as after-tax accounts. This will be helpful once I start reviewing different withdrawal strategies, as they will be color-coded as well. We have them living to age 95, and they want to spend $75,000 per year in retirement, or $6,250 per month, indexed at 3.5 inflation until their advanced age or Bill's age 80, where their expenses will decrease by 30% for those no-go years. Barbara is going to pull her Social Security in January and receive $1,000 per month, so they will need to withdraw roughly $68,000 net from their portfolio indexed for inflation until Bill pulls his full retirement age benefit in 2028, where their portfolio withdrawals will drop about roughly $35,000 in today's dollars. So if they didn't have access to an advisor who specialized in tax planning, their withdrawals would look like this. We can see that they're pulling their income gap from their savings account in 2025 and 2026, then switching to Bill's pre-tax IRA for all needed income until the IRA runs out in 2039, where they begin draining Bill's Roth IRA between 2038 and 2040. You'll see that there are no withdrawals after that because their Social Security benefits will actually cover all needed income at their advanced age because their expenses are decreasing by 30%, as I said earlier. In 2050, we see that same income coming out of a taxable account. And that's just coming from savings, over the years. Now let's look at what they'd owe in federal income tax each year using this strategy. Okay, this chart here shows us federal taxes due by year, as well as the current tax bracket and long-term gains and dividend rate. And I want to start there first. We can see that due to their expenses and tax structure of their portfolio, they will never go beyond the 15% tax bracket. In fact, they'll pay nothing for the first 2 years as they pull from their savings account. Below, we can see what they'll pay each year between 2027 and 2038, totaling $87,848. Once Bill's IRA runs dry, they will again pay no federal income tax for the rest of their lives. Again, they're only paying tax between 2027 and 2038 because they're withdrawing income solely from Bill's pre-tax IRA, following that conventional wisdom. Now, you might say, $87,000 on a portfolio of $800,000 doesn't seem that bad, but actually it's really bad, and here's why. These folks don't need to do any Roth conversions, as they can save over $81,000 in lifetime taxes just by using proper distributions. Here is the perfect distribution strategy for them, or what I call the best non-Roth strategy. We can see here that they're pulling 55% of their income needed from their taxable savings account and 45% from Bill's pre-tax IRA for the first 3 years. Then they switched to pulling 60% of their income need from Bill's pre-tax IRA and 40% from Bill's Roth IRA until 2035, where they pull 100% of needed income from Bill's pre-tax IRA or those required minimum distributions. You can see that matches up with their $8,400 or $8,412 tax bill in 2035. After that, they pull 60% of Bill's Roth IRA and 40% from his pre-tax IRA until 2040, where Bill's RMDs will cover all income needed. Now let's see what they'd owe in federal income tax using this strategy. This chart again shows us federal taxes due by year, as well as the current tax bracket, long-term gain, and dividend rate. I know this may seem shocking, but this is the reality of optimizing your distribution plan. Because of how progressive our tax system is, they end up paying $0 in federal tax 27 out of the 32-year plan. Because remember, Barbara starts at 63 and the plan age, goes to age 95. Over that span, they will only pay $10,884 or nearly $80,000 less than following conventional wisdom. And even though I do this every day, it still blows my mind when I see this difference. So if you do have an advisor, here are some essential questions to ask when reviewing your retirement plan. 1. Did your advisor recommend a bucketing strategy upon retirement to protect your portfolio against the sequence of returns risk? 2. Has your retirement healthcare plan been discussed? Is your advisor familiar with the cost of Medicare? And 3. Do you have a retirement distribution plan that minimizes your lifetime tax bill? Do you understand exactly why each part of your retirement plan exists? Has your advisor shown you clear steps for implementing your retirement strategy? Do you feel confident about your retirement timeline, or are you just following general rules? Now, since this is just a short video and I've covered a lot of important ground, I want to make sure you walk away with absolutely no unanswered questions about your retirement planning. That's why I've put together a free video that dives even deeper into proper retirement planning. In this video, I break down exactly how to avoid the mistakes most advisors make and reveal additional strategies that could help secure your retirement future. Just click the link below and watch it now to discover how to optimize your retirement strategy. I'll see you next time.